Welcome to another episode of the Financial Fast Lane. My name is Lane Martinson. Now, when the Social Security Fairness Act was first passed through the Senate, I made a video. And then when that law was actually signed into law, a few weeks later, I made another video. Between those two videos, there's been over 2 million people that have watched those videos and thousands of comments. In those comments, I have seen a pattern, several questions or points of confusion. And so today in this video, I wanted to pull up some of these comments right from the YouTube channel and then answer them for you. Okay. So the first one is from Wilcox 4561. And it says, if they didn't pay into Social Security, they should not get Social Security. End of story. Well, and I would say that's right. That's true. Nobody gets Social Security retirement benefits that has not paid into the system for a minimum of 40 quarters, which is about 10 years. That's paying the FICA tax for at least 10 years. And so that's a point of confusion. It's some people or many people got the idea that people who had never paid into Social Security were now going to get a Social Security benefit. That is not the case, not at all. What the Social Security Fairness Act was all about is the removal of the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset. And so that only applies to about 3 million Americans, the police officers, firefighters, school teachers, and others that had a government pension. And they worked part of their time in the private sector, part of the time in the public sector. That's who this applied to. Now, let's take a look at the next question. This is from Great Beyond 74. Need to treat everyone fairly, not just cops and firefighters. Yeah, so the thing to understand here is that the cops and the firefighters and the teachers are actually the ones who have been unfairly treated. And so to understand what the windfall elimination provision and GPO did was that these are people like cops and firefighters who were cops and firefighters for part of their career. And then for part of their career, they were paying into Social Security. They earned a Social Security benefit just like everyone else. But the windfall elimination provision would reduce their Social Security benefit down significantly, like to 2/3. And so for 40 years, that group has been saying, hey, this isn't really fair. You're penalizing us way too steeply here. And so it's not like the new law that was passed was just giving certain people a raise. And that's what some of the comments sound like. Like they just specifically said, yeah, we're going to give these people a raise. What they did was they just took away the reduction. So these are people who have been penalized for a long time, not receiving their full benefit. And now the windfall elimination provision has been repealed. And so now they're just back to getting what the normal amount is that they had earned. So hopefully that kind of clarifies. Here's one from Beverly Hickman, 670. It says, nobody I know is getting $1,976 a month. So in one of the videos, I show that $1,976 is the average Social Security benefit. And it is. And the fact that she doesn't know anybody, so how is your Social Security benefit determined? It's determined on your wages of how much you paid in, how much you earned, and they're looking at 35 years. So it's the average of 35 years of wages is what's going to determine that. If you're lower income, your Social Security benefits are going to be lower. If you're higher income, you pay in more, and so your Social Security benefits will be higher. Okay. Here's one from Deb Connor, 2300. What happens to the money paid by the deceased? Which congressperson is absorbing that? Crooks. So it's really, I think, an important concept to understand. Social Security it's not a savings program at all. As your tax money, your FICA taxes are paying into Social Security over the years, there's no part of that that is in savings for you. It is rather, it's an insurance program. Social Security is an insurance program. It's a type of public annuity. Now, annuities, there's lots of different types of annuities, but the type of Social Security is, they are already taking into account mortality rates, or how people are, when people die. They are expecting people to die. They know that everyone's going to die, right? And then they know the averages of when they die. And so those numbers are all cooked in. There's no, it's a question or a comment I've seen over the years, where they're saying, well, who's getting the money? Someone works for 40 years, they retire, they die early. What happens to all that? Well, it helps to pay the benefits of everyone else. It was already cooked in the numbers. So Social Security is like, it's a lifetime payout income stream. So when you think of the FICA tax as the money is paying in over the years, it's like a premium payment. It's not a savings account. So I guess to give you an example, think of like an auto insurance. So let's say that you're making a monthly payment for your car insurance for 3 decades, and let's say you never have a claim. At the end of those 30 years, you can't go to the insurance company and say, hey, I've been paying you for 30 years. I never used this insurance, meaning I didn't have a claim. I'd like my money back. Well, that's not the deal. They don't have the money, right? They use that money to pay out other claims. And that's how insurance works. And so they know the averages, so they can manage risk. Anyway, so hopefully that helps. Think of your Social Security as an insurance annuity paying you an income when you've qualified for it. That is why it's referred to as a benefit. A lot of times I've seen comments and they'll say, well, why is this a benefit? That sounds like some kind of a welfare thing. It's not. A benefit is an insurance term. You pay the premium, and then you have a claim, and you get the benefit. It's not a savings. It's not a return of your money. It's a payout based on the guarantees of the insurance policy. In this case, it's the Social Security system. All right. Here's another one from Christy 1011. It says, if you worked in the public sector and never paid anything into Social Security, then you deserve 0 from Social Security. And again, that's just a misunderstanding. That's true. If you have someone that's been working in a government program with a pension, a non-covered pension, there is no Social Security benefits for those people. They do not qualify. They had to have worked for at least 10 years paying into the Social Security system in order to get any benefit at all. Okay? Here's one from Patrick Pavoni. It says, are they going to stop giving Social Security money to illegals and people that never paid into it? Okay, so here's another misconception. Nobody receives Social Security retirement benefits that has not worked and paid in for at least 40 quarters, which is about 10 years. Now, some people will say, well, I know someone who's receiving illegals that are receiving benefits. That may be true, but they're not Social Security retirement benefits. There may be some, it doesn't mean there's not some government assistance of some type that they may be receiving. And I don't know details about that. But what I do know is that they're not receiving Social Security retirement benefits because it's very specific. You could have, American citizens, they would love to get a Social Security benefit, but if they didn't work, they're not getting them, right? It's based on that earnings record, okay? Here's another one from USA Patriot 5078. It says, that's not true. When I worked for the state of California, I had to pay Social Security every month for decades. Now, again, in general, I'm kind of saying if you had a government pension, but it's much more specific to that. First off, we're talking, it could be federal employees, it could be state employees, it could be some municipality, a city government that offers a non-covered pension. They all don't. So you can have someone who's worked for some government, some government position, and they paid into Social Security all that time. Well, those people are going to have Social Security. because they paid into it. Regardless of what other retirement accounts they may have, whether it's a 401k or some other type of pension, those are additional savings in addition to Social Security. So it's a very specific type. It's referred to as a non-covered pension. So that means if you had a non-covered pension during those years that you were working in that position, you did not pay into the FICA tax. You did not pay into Social Security. Instead, you had more of your money going into a different type of pension. Okay. Let's see here. Here's another one from Roger Martin 404. It says, Trump's COLA increase is disappointing. So there's a couple of things with this, right? First off, Trump has nothing to do with COLA, neither did Biden. But the COLA was determined from the prior year. So this is 2025. So in 2024, the third quarter is based on the CPIW, so the Consumer Price Index for workers. Whatever that indicates for inflation is what the COLA is for the next year. So to think that, so the COLA for 2025 was 2.5%, has nothing to do with a presidential decision. It's based on the current Social Security law that uses that index, the CPIW. Now, does the CPIW really reflect accurately inflation? No, I don't think so. Are there better ways you could do that? For sure. It's usually, the COLA is almost always something less than actual inflation. So understandably, that is disappointing because you would like it to be able to stay up with actual inflation. But again, the law would have to change. Congress would have to modify how the COLA is calculated in order for there to be for it to be done in any other way. Okay. Here's another one from Rev Janet. She says, don't believe it. And I don't know what she's referring to. Don't believe that the Social Security Fairness Act was signed into law. It's a matter of fact. So maybe, I think what happens some of the time is that we'll have people who they'll look at the title or a thumbnail of a video. They don't even watch the video, but they'll comment, assuming that they know what the content of the video is. So if this person would have actually watched the video, she would have, her comment doesn't make any sense because, what are you referring to? You don't believe it? Don't believe what? Anyway, so on the Social Security statement, every single Social Security statement that there's ever been, there's a paragraph that says, Social Security benefits are not intended to be your only source of retirement income. You may need other savings, investments, pensions, or retirement accounts to make sure you have enough money for when you retire. And, there's a lot of times there's comments where, how does anyone expect us to live on this? Well, the answer is they don't, right? Anyone who thinks that Social Security was designed to be your retirement plan, that's just never been the case. It's supplemental. It was initially designed to be, what it's become today is a lot different than what it was, right? But it's really important that you save, invest, and have a plan for retirement. In my book, that's what my book's all about, 5W Retirement Blueprint. We talk about investments and we talk about the different types of annuities that are out there, what's good and what's not, what are the different biases that exist in the world. How can you have a predictable and stable retirement? So that's available on Amazon if you want to check that out. But I hope you found this helpful. I know that there's a lot of emotion and confusion around Social Security, things that are happening with our lawmakers. And I know there's strong feelings on all over the place. But anyway, I appreciate you. Let me know in the comments if there's something more specific you'd like me to address on this subject. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode of the Financial Fast Lane.